All right, here we go. So I want to say hello to our audience. You are listening to the Gemini Legal Podcast. We are interviewing subject matter experts and industry thought leaders. Today we are live. We have a special broadcast here at the California Applicant Attorneys Association 2020 Winter Convention in beautiful Rancho Mirage. Weather's great here.
Yes, it is.
I am Dan Mora. I am the founder and owner of Gemini Legal. I am not an attorney, and Gemini is a legal discovery company. So my guest today is Rob Farahmand, and I want to welcome Rob. Rob is currently the chapter president for the Monterey chapter of California Applicant Attorneys Association.
So, correct.
Rob, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, first of all, I won't bill myself as a subject matter expert, but thank you for that introduction. Been working in work comp for about 5 years. I started out on the defense side for a little less than a year. Been representing injured workers now ever since, and it's been good. It's a good profession. It's a good calling.
Okay, yeah. So what introduced you? How were you introduced to workers' compensation?
Actually, I kind of fell into it. I graduated from law school at McGeorge, practiced in criminal defense on the post-conviction side of things for a few years. Assembly Bill 109, I believe it was, came through and kind of dissolved my position, so looked for something else, and there was a work comp defense firm in town hiring. That's really how I got started.
Gotcha. So you've been at now Wilson Whistler for 5 years, is that right?
Yeah, about 5 years.
Awesome. So talk to me about your path and your desire for leadership.
Well, with respect to CAAA specifically, I was recommended to be the next chapter president after a few years practicing, and I thought it was an honor to be given the opportunity, so I took it, and it's been great, learning a lot. CAAA obviously is a tremendous resource for educational material, but to be part of the leadership group and part of the team of people that disseminates the information, to the local chapters and gets to participate in events like this. It's great. Anytime you can assist with an organization and help it internally, you learn more than just coming and sitting at the convention and listening to the lectures. You get to have a back window view into why these topics are being introduced and why it's important to present them.
Gotcha. And you're humble, but obviously somebody saw something in you to recommend you for leadership. So I'm sure you're not giving yourself enough credit, but I'll do it for you, no problem.
Thanks, Dan.
So what are the topics that are going on in CAAA? What are the major things that we got moving?
Well, the same topics that have been an issue since SB 863. For the most part, I think most practitioners would agree that the day-to-day struggle, the crux of it is, adequate treatment for our clients. Getting them to doctors who are, quality physicians, who know how to write reports and make treatment requests that can actually get approved through the utilization review process. And getting them to medical legal evaluators who know the law.
Gotcha. So that's the basis. I mean, we're all here because we're trying to help injured workers get back to work, get back to a productive lifestyle, whatever limitations have been put on them. So adequate treatment, obviously. And what other topics are kind of rolling around or maybe we could be more specific. So adequate treatment has some, there's some access problems there.
Definitely, yeah. One of the things that that CAAA does is tries to look at pending legislation. We look at cases that are on their way up on appeal to the commissioners that potentially might go up on appeal. from there, and try to just watch and see, look, what cases are really important down the line, and what can CAAA do to help sort of brief the commissioners and the appeals courts.
Is it the
on
number of
important issues.
physicians, or is it the?
Oh, well, I think that depends on the region. So
Gotcha.
in Monterey County, for example, we have, one of our particular, difficulties is the fact that there's a lack of orthopedic specialists who will sort of actively manage a workers' compensation case. So when we have someone come in with what appears to be, a potentially, surgical type injury, at the outset they're being referred to an occupational medical clinic most of the time. Ideally they'll get some diagnostic workup, some initial reporting, but to actually get them to, an orthopedist takes the referral out. There has to be an orthopedist on the MPN. Sometimes those MPNs are deficient. So even if you can get somebody to a doctor, oftentimes it takes a long time. It takes going through the motions of researching the MPN, getting a medical access assistant to try to find a doctor. You have to get an authorization notice. Most doctors require an authorization notice with their name on it. So if a treating doctor, say, gets a referral to an orthopedist, it's going to be a general referral. It's just going to approve the orthopedic evaluation itself. Once you find a doctor, they're going to require another notice with their name on it before they'll even look at any medical records. So that's going to take a couple weeks to get. And then it may sit on that doctor's desk for however long, a few weeks to a month. Then it's a matter of scheduling. And if an authorization notice has an expiration date, which they frequently do, that can come back around, and you might not even get the person in before the original authorization expires. So then you're back at the board to litigate that issue. So it's a complex set of problems, but ultimately it boils down to access to medical care.
Right. Yeah. Sounds like it's a multiple, like you said, multifaceted issue,
Right.
getting treatment.
Neuropsychological evaluations also are a big problem. We don't have neuropsych panels anymore. So depending on what board you're at, sometimes some boards will require you to appear for a status conference to discuss the issue, and hopefully you'll get an order if it's converted to an MSC. Other boards, require a petition. So that's my practice. I'll typically file a petition if there's a basis for a neuropsychological evaluation. Sometimes you get an objection, sometimes not. But then again, you run into the difficulty of, okay, well, let's say I have an order. What doctor is going to do it? I've had situations where the presiding judge has ordered an evaluation with a particular neuropsychologist that he selected, and that doctor says, well, I'm not going to do that. It's not an AME type situation. So, you're sort of juggling what you can get your client against what the doctors require and what the doctors are willing to do.
Sounds like a very painful process for an injured worker.
It's a slow, cumbersome process, and it causes a tremendous amount of suffering in the meantime, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, that's tough. So we've had a revolution over the years, over the decades of access to doctors. There was the you choose one, I choose one. There's AMEs and QME. I mean, what's the solution? You had a magic wand, and what can we get?
I think it'd be great to go back to a system where, both sides pick their own docs. The legislature has spoken on that issue, but at the very least, I think what's clear right now is that with respect to QMEs, there aren't enough, and they're, that's something that would be beneficial to the system if we could get more doctors into the fold who are well trained and knew the law and knew how to do med legal reporting. It would certainly help facilitate a bit more efficiency in the system, I think. But that's only one small component.
It seems like CAAA is doing their best to educate the doctors. This is an attorney association,
Right.
but there are, I'm hearing, effort to educate the doctors.
Well,
better.
and we're mandated by through the case law to do that. It's our charge to educate the doctors.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that is something that CAAA definitely tries to do, and we rely on the doctors to educate us. It's a two-way street. They need to be able to explain medically what's going on and how it fits within the guidelines that they have to work with, and vice versa.
Yeah, tough job for both of you to try to understand each other's business, and
Sure.
we hear a lot about.
But that's what makes it so interesting,
Right.
and so dynamic, and get to learn a lot, which is great.
Yeah, that is absolutely one of the things that I tell people getting into this industry is you will not be bored.
Right.
It is a lot to learn.
There is.
A lot to learn. Very cool. So what's next for your firm? How's your firm doing? And what's next?
Great. I was made a junior partner
Congrats.
fairly recently. Thanks. So
Congrats.
that's a nice step up, and we're going from here. Ultimately our day-to-day objective, right, is to take the best care of our clients as we can. There's obviously that requires the work of being an effective advocate, but it's also a bit of just interaction with your client on a human level. I mean, my clients I think of as friends.
Right.
They're people who come to me because they are in a sort of dire situation. Many of them can't work. They're facing financial difficulties, sometimes financial ruin, and they need help.
Right.
And that's it's an honor when somebody entrusts you with with the work, and I take that to heart. So
That's refreshing.
yeah, and so I think our firm is pretty good about that. I think we do a good job of engaging with our clients in a way that I won't say other firms don't, but I think that overall, that's one thing we try to focus on.
Sure, it's not just the physical needs. These folks need somebody that they trust.
Yeah, and even if it's just a phone call so that they can vent and get something off their chest, if I can take the call, I'm going to take it.
Yeah. So your office is in Salinas. Are you a native?
I am
from
born
Salinas?
and raised. Well, Monterey, Salinas. They're not too far from each other. Born in Monterey, kind of grew up there till about middle school, and then
So your passion for people. This is a passion for your community as well.
Yeah, and it's funny you should ask. My dad was big into community engagement. He was a lifelong Rotarian. He's done a lot for our area. That this is one aspect of giving back. Trying to take care of the people who really form the bedrock of the community, and especially in Salinas. So much of our populace there is they're agricultural laborers. They're blue collar workers. Welders, firefighters, police officers, and it's important to remember that even people who get up at 4 a.m. and work sort of out of sight in the fields, they're doing something that the world benefits from. And it's what has made our particular region so successful. It's important to remember that. To work for them on their behalf. That's why I enjoy it.
Awesome. Love that passion. Gotta have that.
Thanks.
Yeah. So, last question. What's your sport?
Oh, being dad, I guess. That's. So I've had a few over the years. Kind of grew up playing roller hockey. That was always my main sport. Did that for a number of years. Skiing when I can. Those days are fewer and far between.
Raising a family,
exactly.
that'll kill all your hobbies.
Just getting out on a bike ride with the kids when I can, and playing hockey once in a while. Getting a little old for the hockey though. I feel like every time I play, I start getting hurt. So I'm like, I'm going to dial it back a little bit.
Right on. Well, Rob Farahmand is our guest. I want to thank him
Thanks,
for
Dan.
coming on.
Thanks
This
for the
has been
opportunity.
fun. We appreciate your passion for this community. It shows, and we need it. You know, injured workers
we do.
really need it. So
We do.
thank you for that. Thank
You're
you for
welcome.
coming
Thanks
on.
for the opportunity.
All right.
Appreciate it.